and mammon, it doesn't mean that you cannot have or use money. It only means you cannot attach more value to money than to God, because it is not money that's the root to all evil, but it is the love of money. It is the value that you attach to money. And I spoke to that about that a couple weeks back for those of you who are not here, because there's this time there was a guy, a teacher in the law, who asked Jesus, what must he do to be saved? And Jesus said, you have to love others, do not commit adultery and follow all the laws. And he said, I have done all these things. What else can I do? And Jesus told him something very interesting. Sell all that you have and give it to the poor. And the man was very sad when Jesus told him that, and he walked away. And Jesus said, very truly, I tell you, it will be a lot easier for a camel to fit to a needle's eye than for a rich man to go to heaven. And something interesting happened too, because even Jesus's disciples, they were there and they asked Jesus, what do you mean? And Jesus said, why is my language not clear to you? But why did the disciples talk to Jesus about that? Because even them, they had some money too, because they were fishers, they were carpenters, they were not broke. So they're thinking, why are we following Jesus if we cannot even go to heaven? And, do we have to also sell everything that we had? But what Jesus really meant is for people that are attaching so much value to money, which is loving money, it is hard for them to get into heaven. He was not referring to actually have money, because when you think about it, there's a lot of men of God in the Bible that were saved. We can say Moses. Moses was a prince. We can say, Joseph. Joseph was a prince. Joseph had a lot of money. We have King Solomon. We have Jacob, and we have David. We have a lot of people in the Bible that had money and they were men of God, and that did not stop them, from glorifying God. But it is the value that you attach to the money. If you love money so much that you cannot help other people, that you put your grind before God, that's when it becomes you cannot serve both God and money. Because let's say, on Sundays, that's when you usually spend time in the presence of God. And every time Sunday come, because you want overtime, and you pick up a shift every time that you're supposed to go to school, that you're supposed to go to church, right? That's when you start putting money before God, or when you do the money to pay for things, that are not godly. This is the use of the money. This is what you do with the money. Money is neutral. Those of us who use money for good, there's no problem with it. But if you use the money to do evil, like gambling, pornography and stuff like that, this is where it becomes the problem. So on today, we are going to do like a very basic thing about finances, right? And we will start with this. Can you guys see what I have on my screen? Can everybody's okay? Okay. All right. So this is what we have. This is called a cash flow quadrant, right? This is a financial quadrant. So this is the four group of people that we have in society. We have the employees. Most of people going to work 9 to 5, right? You just go, you get a paycheck, and you go home and you live paycheck to paycheck. And this is, a lot of times it comes from family expectation. Let's say you go in the family and everybody was like a lawyer, or everybody was security guard, and they take a lot of pride in it. So what the parents do, they always project that onto their children and want them to become the same. Also, if there's something they didn't get to do, let's say your dad wanted to be a civil engineer and then he didn't get to do that because things were hard, he didn't get the opportunity, and as you grow up, he's gonna try to push that into you. So your own desires, things that you really want to do, a lot of times it gets clouded, right? As you grow up and as people expect things from you and your family expectations, so you don't really know what you want to do in life, and this is where it gets, a little complicated for you. And those are the employees. But it does come with some perks, right? Because as an employee, as long as you go to work, you get a paycheck. A lot of times, you get paid vacation. What else? You get 401k, you get great colleagues and people to have fun with, right? and we can have lunch together. It's all fun and games. So right here, there's little financial uncertainty, right? Because as long as you go to work and the company doesn't go out of business, you are sure to get a paycheck. Hence come the saying, people work from paycheck to paycheck. And then down there, we have the self-employed. Those are, your little business owners, people that do, credit repair, consulting, multi-service, immigration, all these people. So what happened with these people is that, they are a little bit higher of the curve, that's for sure. But success for them doesn't really mean the same. It doesn't come with financial freedom, because what happens is that the more successful you get here, the more workload you have, right? The more clients you get, the more work you have to do. The more clients, let's say you in tax season, right? And you get 100 clients. Yes, you will be making more money. However, you have a lot more paperwork and stress to deal with. Therefore, even though you're making the money, but you don't have any financial freedom because you get paid according to performance. And this is the left side of the quadrant. And this is where most people are right now, right? And the book Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, you see this side is called the poor dad. So a lot of people, they focus on getting very good degrees. They go to college, they get a master's, they get a bachelor's, and then they go work for somebody to control their paycheck. And this is what society promotes. And this is what you feel like is normal to do. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you pay bills until you die. And people that's over here, they kind of want to get it right, right? Because they be like, I know I'm meant, for more. I need some type of control in my life. And what they do, they get a skill, they get very good at it, and they start their own stuff. But what happens is that there's a little problem, even though you get to make your own hours, because people over here, they have a lot of pride, right? Because they're like, I'm good at what I do. I make money. I can make my own schedule. I go to work when I want. I control things, right? But there's a little problem with here, because it comes with not only financial uncertainties, because for those of you who own or see anybody that owns small businesses, it's like the stock market, right? There's up and down. There is a season of up and down, right? It's just like the stocks. Like it's very rare for you to make the same amount of money every month. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's very good, and you can spend a couple months flat. Sometimes, it's just not stable. So it comes with one, financial uncertainty. Second, for you to be successful, it comes with a lot of workload. So the more money you make, the more successful you are. So you are to work more. And thirdly, you have a lot of competition, because think of it, how many people are trying to do your income tax when the season comes? You get a lot of choices, right? Because you can just get up and go to somebody else. And what is that for a business owner, right? For these people, they have to work really hard to gain market share, and dominating the market is really hard because there's so many people trying to offer the same thing. When people are on this side, it's very hard for them to move to the right side, which would be the rich dad. This is where you really make money. This is where the big money happens, on the right side of the quadrant. Why? I will get to this in a second, right? So I just want to make sure you understand here. Over here, you just surviving. When you are on the left side, you just struggling to make it. Even though you can make let's say 100,000 as a doctor, as a lawyer, nonetheless, somebody is controlling what you make. Somebody is up there and is controlling you and capping how much money you can make. And over here, it's only so much you can do on your own. It's only so much you can do as being a small business owner, or anything, because as the more you get up there and make more money, you will be stressed and have so much workload you cannot even enjoy the money. And this is why a lot of businesses, they fail within 2 years of being created. Or those who get past the 2 year mark, they go to 7 years. I'm not just talking about this because I read the book. I actually went inside and got to see most of the part. And a lot of people, they get very comfortable and very, what do I call this? They get very stubborn and comfortable on being on the left side, that they will spend 50 years working as a security guard, right? A lot of people, ever since you were a kid, they were doing the same thing, and they will stay in there. And from that 20, 30 years, they probably get $1 or two raise, and they're very comfortable with that. I'm not going to live like this. I just know my God did not build me to work like a slave like that, right? Let me go to the other side. This is where it gets really interesting, right? Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So over here is the business owners. What is that? The business owners is these big guys, right? That own a company that has, up to 500 employees. For instance, we have McDonald's, Best Buy, Walmart. These people. Let me tell you, how many times have you walked into a Walmart and you met the CEO? How many times have you seen, McDonald's at his own place? How many times have you walked in the store and see the owners? I mean, I know I never seen them. Why? Because these people, they are looking for people who are smarter than them to want to run their businesses. And who are these people? Because you focus on excelling. Over here you have a master's in business administration. Over here you specializes into income tax and stuff like that, so you get really good. But these people are the one controlling how much money you're making, because you work for them. Can somebody please mute? um, I'm muted. Oh, hey uncle. Yeah, so these people, right, they focus it, they right here, they control how much money you're making. And this is your 9 to 5. And these people, most of the time, they are absentee owners. You don't even see them. They just out there somewhere, and maybe, I don't know, in Dubai, sipping on a drink, and their company is working. They put managers, and they put, whoever is in charge, COOs, to control the company. And what they do, they are looking for people who are very smart, and people with, PhDs, and they just capping your money. They say, you know what, this guy is going to make me about $2-3 million in sale, but I'm only going to give him 80K. But just because 80,000 sounds more than what the average people are making, which is maybe, I don't know, 25,000 a year, but they give you 80,000, and you feel like, I'm doing right. And then what? You are generating them $3-4 million, but you don't see it because you stuck on the left side. You can't really see what's going on. And them, this is what they do. They are using this. They give you benefits. They give you paid vacations, because how much is that really costing them to give you 10 days off? This is not costing them anything. So over here, and I understand it's a lot harder for you to come from the left side and jump on the right side. I get it, because to be a big business owner, you need a lot of capital, right? And then I know we're not just gonna come across this money. Therefore, you would be right to say it's not fair to say that. But I can't say this and not give you and not show you a way out, right? And that would be here, investors. Because there's a perk of being an investor, right? You go and get to use all these people money to make your own money, because these people here, they use these people to make their money. But you, as an investor, you can use the company's money, hence the stock market, right? When you invest in Apple, what happens when you invest in Apple? You invest in the whole function of the company, from the CEO who's making decision all the way to the last employee, right? And this one, it comes with a lot of risk, and this is why people hate it. People hate taking risk. But I want to tell you that taking risk is biblical, not only for us as Christians, right? But I want to tell you that taking risk is biblical. I will show you that verse in a second because I don't want to get out of this, right? So you can use as an investor, you can be on this side and this side. And even people in here, the big business owners, they buy shares of their own company for growth. But as being in here, how do you get to the right side of the quadrant? Well, you can take some money out of your paycheck and invest in stocks. It doesn't matter how much you can because there's all kind of different stocks. I mean, I gotta say this is not financial advice, right? If you would like to know more about this, you gotta go to somebody, that's a professional. I'm just giving a general, study and information on that. But you can take money out of your paycheck and actually invest in a stock and hoping for a return, because even though you can see the stock market going up and down, but the general trend is upward. If you look from 1970 to now, you will see that every company that's been around, maybe in the S&P 500, you will see that all their prices have increased or at least stayed stable and paying dividends, right? You can, as you take some money out of the money that you make, your revenues, and invest. And here is the quickest way to become financially wealthy. It is the quickest way because you get to use other people's time, which is called OPT, and OPM, which is called other people's money. So the business owner, they use your time, right? Other people's time. And you as an investor, you get to use both because all these people, they are working. You use their time and you just put your money down there. And then the fun part about being an investor is it requires only the research. You don't really have to work a lot. It's like passive income, but it comes with the highest risk, right? Because you do have to take a lot of risk, and the money that you put in there, it can completely be obliterated. That's why you need to be knowledgeable about what company you invest in. And being other people time and other people money, you use the company. Let's say Apple, they have, I don't know, a market cap of like $1 trillion, right? And then you buy a stock of Apple, maybe $200, and 2 years later it's probably worth $600. So you making money off of them making money. And this is how you can get to, because if you see from last year out of the quarantine until now, there's a lot of millionaires that's been made just investing. I have me and a lot of friends, we invest in crypto, and it can blow up and make you maximum return on investment. The stock market gives you 7%. Warren Buffett, which is like a billionaire, maybe he has like 80 billion or so, he only gets 20% return on investment. But here, you can get unlimited investment. I'm not saying unlimited because, but I see people getting, 30,000%. You can imagine that, having 30,000%, putting $500 into a stock, and then a year or two later, it becomes like $1 million. It becomes $2, $3 million. Yes, it is possible. And that will be covered into another session if y'all want to. But I need to move on with this. I just wanted to make sure, I show you what this really means here, on how to be on how to move on from being an employee. You can go into here, or even when you're on that state, you can move on to here. And eventually, if you have enough health wealth, then you can move on up there. Either when you have enough money, you can go and buy a substantial amount of the company, then you become a shareholder. Because a lot of people, they do that, because even in the stock market, when you own a certain amount of stock, then you become like a shareholder, because if you own 25% of the stock, then you have a voice in what has to be said in the company. So let us move on to how you can actually make this happen, because the plan is to get here. The plan is to get here. So let's see, if we can have like some type of financial planner that can help us move on to that section. And this is what I was saying by investing is biblical. Ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return. Invest in 7 ventures. Yes, and 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. And I'm pretty sure that that was a vivid example when COVID happened. For those of you, for many people who only had one stream of income, which was their job, and they told you you couldn't go out anymore because you were not an essential worker, what happened? Wokeness, right? And the Bible said that it is not wise to have all your eggs in one basket. It says, ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return. What is he talking about here? He's talking about investing your money. Investing your money, because it's not like a quick scam. Like people be saying, give me $500 in 2 hours, I'll give you 1,000. Oh, please. Please do not ever do that. Do not ever do that, because you will never see that person or the money again. But it says, ship your grain across the sea. What does that mean? It's just like you cast your bread upon water. So it may come back, it may not. But investing is biblical, because when you put it, say after many days being what? It could be a year, it could be 3 weeks, it could be a month. You have to do your research and know, if I invest in Apple, and how long am I expecting a surge? Do they have some type of product coming out that I can make profit off of? It's a ship your coin across the sea. This is what it means. You invest part of your money into something and hoping for a return, but you have to do your research on that, right? Because you do not know what disasters will come upon the land. I'm gonna give you a vivid example from the beginning of all creation. When God created in the Garden of Eden, it had four rivers. I do not remember the name, but it had four rivers flowing through it. You know why? Just in case one of them dried up, the garden would not, it could still flourish. So that's why the Bible says you should have up to 7 stream of incomes. Yes, invest in 8, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe your company, the company you work for, maybe they have new management and they're cutting people down. Maybe they're not meeting their quota and they have to cut people down. So you have to have other things bringing you money so you don't get in trouble. This is what I mean. That's what I say. That's why I say, investing, it is biblical. So let's go into like showing you what it would look like to have a financial planner, right? So over here, we're going to create like a financial plan. And what that means is that it's called a financial quadrant. We'll do it together, right? We'll do all the calculations so that you can see, and that hopefully you can do it on your own and see how you can manage your money better, and hopefully get out of that left side and jump into the right side. So we have a quadrant here. All right. And over here, we can start and say we have income. And excuse me, my handwriting terrible because these e-pens are not really easy to use. So we have income, and that's plus. Income is any money that's coming in, right? And we have expenses, which is anything going out. So let us take two different scenarios, right? You have somebody, let's say we call him Bob, right? Because Bob sounds like somebody that would like to spend money. And then we have over here, we call him Bob. Bob went to school. He has a bachelor's into finances or something, and Bob is making $48,000 a year, which is roughly about $4,000 a month, right? We have okay, that's income, right? And that's the only thing he has, because he went to school and now he's working at the bank. after finishing from school. And then I was like, okay, I'm balling, I'm making 48K a year, and I'm making $4,000 a month. But there's one thing we fail to realize. A lot of times when you're making $4,000 a month, you don't think about how much taxes you get, right? Because you're probably in the 12% tax bracket, and people living like they making $4,000 a month without subtracting what the IRS is getting from them. So in this case, right, we have his number one expenses is his taxes. And I'm not gonna do the math, but approximately, it's a 12%, so maybe like $480. That's his number one expenses. It is not thinking about that. He's not thinking about that. Number two, what we have for Bob, we have his rent, right? Bob said, when I was living with my mom, I was not comfortable. Now I'm my own man. I'm the man now. I'm making money. I'm working for the bank. I gotta live somewhere nice and comfortable. And Bob goes to Miami and maybe around Aventura and stuff. You don't want to live among the masses to save money, but now it's like it's looking at $4,000 like it's a million. And Bob is like, you know what? I'm going to get me one of these nice condos, and then I'll probably stay there, and then how much Bobby's paying for rent? Bobby's probably paying like 2,100 for rent. And number three, Bob said, I'm a banker. I cannot just be out here rolling any type of way. I gotta have, some nice cars when I drive by, with the homies. When they see me, they can see I'm rolling. And then Bob go isn't he don't even have a good credit yet, but Bob wants a, let's say, BMW X6, right? And Bob go out there and get a BMW with the condo included. They're gonna charge you mad interest because your credit is not good. And secondly, for the insurance, let's say total Bob is paying 800 a month for the car. And this is kind of real life example. I know you guys know people that are living like this. I know that for sure because I do know a lot of people, because there's one biblical mistake they make, and I'm going to show you in a second. Let us just go to Bob's expenses for a little bit more, right? And then what happened? Bob has to eat. Bob has two wife. Bob has one wife and two children, right? For food, Bob say, we gotta eat comfortably in the house, and then I'm probably spending like $1,100 in food. When Bob go to Publix, he just full the cart. He don't care. It's just balling. All right. This is a big mistake, Bob. And what else? Bob say, I'm a banker. When I go to work, I gotta look sharp. People gotta see, I look like money when they come in there, like these clients. And then Bob say, I'm gonna buy nice clothes. I gotta go to work with Ferragamo, Christian Louboutin, Versace, and all this stuff. And we all know they ain't cheap. But Bob say, um, what was that? That was food. And Bob say, I gotta get me some nice clothes. And here we go. Bob say I'm gonna put 150 aside a month to buy clothes. But what happened when you go to the store, you want expensive stuff like that. I know these things are expensive. I'm not really into fashion, so I don't really know, how much they cost, but I'm pretty sure they are expensive. So when Bob go to the store and the money that he has in his pocket is not enough, what happened? He get a store credit card. And I don't know if you know this, when you get the store cards, they charge you up to 25% interest. Up to 25% interest. And this is for clothes. Bob did not think about he has to pay electricity, gas for the car, cable. Let's say for all these utilities, right? It's like for utilities, $400. Hold up. How much is Bob getting paid again? Let's just do the math real quick because This is absolutely insane. This is Bob. Bob is getting paid $4,000, which is not really 4,000 because you gotta remove the taxes. Bob is getting paid $3,520, $2,100 for rent, $800 for the car, 1,100 for food, and $400 for utilities. Plus, let's say when you went here, right, and he end up buying a whole lot of clothes. He got the credit cards, and now he racked up a $10,000 loan, right? Because that's easy to happen when you're dealing with credit cards. Before interest, the main loan will get up to $10,000 real fast, and now before you know, you're gonna have to pay maybe like $250 a month, right? So let's add that. So in total, Bob is already up to $5,030. Think about this. How many times have you seen people that spending way more than they're earning? They're living beyond their means, right? Because they want to get caught up with the trend. They want to have the latest stuff, the new Jordans, Christian Louboutin, and all this stuff. And they forgot how much money they're getting paid. This is a big mistake, right? So one thing that Bob does not have, there's two critical things that Bob is missing. And this is what I believe a lot of people, this is where they make the mistake at, right? Bob doesn't have any assets. Bob doesn't have any assets. And assets is where you're going to be making the money at. Oh my God. All right. And liabilities, right? So this is what we have. This is why it's called a quadrant. So it's income, expenses, asset, and liabilities. The game of wealth is played down here, right? The lower quadrant, this is where it's at. What is an asset? An asset is anything that's bringing you money, that's putting money in your pocket now or in the future. Assets generate money now or in the future. And liabilities is the exact opposite, right? It can take money now or take money out in the future, right? So let us see Bob as zero assets. Beside his paycheck, there's nothing else that's bringing in money because he's so focused on being flashy and living a very nice life. This is how Bob doing it, right? And liabilities, what does he have for liabilities? Well, he got a couple things going for him. We have the car, brand new BMW X6, 2021, probably goes, I don't know, maybe for 50K. He put $2,000 down and they're charging him mad extra. So he has a $48,000 loan. Is minus 48,000, right? And then secondly, the credit card debts loan. I mean, CC, 10K. And let's say, because he's always short like $1,000 every month because he's spending like $1,000 more than what he's getting paid. So he end up sometimes having to borrow money from friends, right? And now let's say he has loans for friends for like 5,000. So if you look at this, right? How much money is Baba already down? That's his net worth, right? Is minus 58, 63K. And how much was he getting paid? How much is he worth, right? He's only getting 48,000. 48, sorry, 48,000. How do you end up with $63,000 in loan and debts when you're making only 48,000 a year? And this is the mistake a lot of people make. And unfortunately, when you owe the government, They can seize anything. That's why some people, they get their car repoed, right? They repossess your car and stuff like that, because when you owe the government, they're gonna take that money regardless. So this is where a lot of people get trapped, because they don't know the state of their finances, and this is biblical. You should know the state of your flocks. This is it right here. Bible said, be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not endure forever, and the crown is not secure for all generation. You should know the state of your flux. They're saying flux because back in the days, your finances and riches, they were tied to lands, livestock, and all this type of stuff. But now it's a money game. You have to know how much money you're making and how much you can afford to spend. Because like Bobby's always